So,
Can I start?
yes, sir.
Can I start?
Sir, yes. So, good morning, all the participants. Today we are having the session with Professor Abdul Hamid Bhatt. He is the professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering at NIT Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir. Dr. Bhatt has done his BTech in Electrical Engineering in the year 1992 and MTech in Power Electronics and Drives in the year 2001. He has done his PhD in Electrical Engineering in the year 2007 on the three-phase high power factor converter from IIT Roorkee. He has more than 100 journal and conference papers published in the good journals, and he has also won patent on the capacitor voltage balancing for three-phase neutral point clamp bidirectional rectifiers. Sir, I welcome you on the behalf of Electrical Engineering Department NIT Patna and from the Atal Academy of AICTE and the today's session. So thank you, sir, for being here. So now I request you to proceed with the lecture, sir.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Department of Electrical Engineering, National Institute of Technology, Srinagar, Kashmir, J&K, I express my gratitude to Department of Electrical Engineering, NIT Patna, for giving me an opportunity to deliver a lecture on improved power quality converters in a short-term course on simulation techniques for power electronics converters, which is being held by Department of Electrical Engineering, NIT Patna from February 2 to 12, 2021. The title of my talk today is Improved Power Quality Converters. When I say improved power quality converters, it means improved power quality AC to DC converters. So let's get started. So the title itself involves the term power quality. So I'm sure some of the prominent speakers like my supervisor, Professor Pramod Agarwal, must have already delivered some expert lecture on power quality, and also Professor Shailendra Kumar Jain, who was my senior at Electrical Engineering Department, IIT Roorkee. He may also have delivered a talk, expert talk on power quality or active power filters, as I remember. So my lecture is an, you can say, extension of their expert lectures. I'm sure you have been introduced with the term power quality, so I will just read it in brief. Electric power quality, as you can see, is a term that refers to maintaining near sinusoidal waveform of power distribution bus voltages and currents at rated magnitude and frequency. When we were taught power systems engineering in BTech 6th semester at NIT Srinagar, those days our teacher was saying that a power system is considered a good power system if it supplies power at rated voltage and rated frequency. He was not mentioning about waveform. Things have changed over past 3 to 4 decades. With the widespread use of power electronics converters or power electronics based loads.
Sir, slide is not moving.
Yes, no, I am not moving. I am on slide number 1, power quality.
Okay. Sir.
Is that visible?
No, sir, only title slide is there on the screen.
This one. I have moved to slide number 1, slide number 2, introduction to power quality problems.
No, sir, that's not coming to the screen here.
It's coming here. What should I do?
Sir, you can click on this tile here on the left side. You click on the slide number 2 from this side, so it will be visible here, I think.
Let me try.
Yes, sir. Now it is on slide number 3.
Yeah, power quality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it's okay.
So what I was saying, am I audible to all?
It is clearly audible.
Yeah. So what I was saying, now the definition has changed. Nowadays, as power systems, teachers should say that a power system is considered a good power system if it supplies power at rated voltage, rated frequency, and maintains sinusoidal waveform of voltages and currents. Okay, so therefore, power quality refers to maintaining nearly sinusoidal waveform of power distribution bus voltages and currents at rated magnitude and frequency, right? What is then power quality problem? Power quality problem, as I have written here, is an occurrence manifested in a non-standard voltage, current, or frequency deviation. I mean, if there is any deviation in the magnitude of voltage, the rated magnitude of current or frequency or waveform distortion, that may result in failure or misoperation of end user equipment, then we say that there is a power quality problem. Okay, it's a very widespread problem these days, and it is a very hot issue among the researchers and engineers working in this area. Various types of power quality phenomena or power quality problems. As is this slide visible?
Yeah, it's visible now.
Okay. So various types of power quality phenomena or power quality problems, as I have mentioned here, are voltage and current variations, and then voltage magnitude variation, voltage fluctuation, voltage frequency variation, current magnitude variation, current phase variation, voltage and current unbalance, voltage flicker, and voltage distortion. So broadly, these power quality phenomena can be divided or classified into two types, two classifications. One is current related power quality problem, and another is voltage related power quality problem. Current related power quality problem is mainly due to the load. If your load is non-linear, power electronics driven load, power electronics converter based load, then it will create all types of, it may create all types of current related power quality problems, like it will draw distorted current from the system. Current will be very rich in harmonics. Okay, your load may be unbalanced. There will be large current in the neutral. It may result in neutral burning or neutral overheating, and so on. And voltage related power quality problems are because there may be a dip, temporary dip in the voltage, momentary dip in the voltage, which is called voltage sag. Then voltage swell. Voltage swell means increase in the voltage. And voltage unbalance. Okay, voltage distortion, distortion in the voltage itself, and so on. Now, causes of voltage distortion are harmonics, interharmonics, voltage notches. And we already know that power electronic converters, conventional AC to DC converters, they are notorious for injecting harmonics into the currents. The source currents drawn by these conventional or traditional AC to DC converters, rectifiers and phase control converters, they draw harmonic rich current. And this harmonic rich current results in voltage distortion at the point of common coupling. This is the nature of the current or voltage which may be available to us. It is not it's not close to sinusoidal. It's far away from sinusoidal waveform. It's highly distorted, very rich in harmonics. These are interharmonics and these are voltage notching. And now you can see linear loads cause no power quality problem. Linear load is your, so for example, your heating load, your lighting load, incandescent lamps, your induction motor loads, RL loads, R-type loads, RC loads, they are all linear loads. They do not cause any power quality problem, as you can see. The voltage you can see here is purely sinusoidal applied voltage.
The slide is not moving now again.
Is it
Yes,
okay?
now it's coming. Now it's coming. Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can see I'm showing the diagram for a linear load. This is the circuit diagram for a linear load. This may be an R-type load, it may be RL-type load, maybe RC-type load. I mean, it may be lagging power factor load, leading power factor load, any type of load. It may be heating load, maybe induction motor load. So it's a linear load. The applied voltage to this load is purely sinusoidal, and it draws purely sinusoidal current from the source. So the relationship between voltage and current is linear, which is shown in this graph. You can see the relationship between voltage and current is absolutely linear. If your voltage is sinusoidal, current drawn by the load is also sinusoidal. So that means linear loads do not cause any problem. But the problem in today's era is that most of the loads which we use in homes, in industries, in offices, in commercial establishments, and in electric utility, most of these loads are non-linear loads because of widespread use of power electronics processing. So this is past and this is present. Past means you can go 3 decades back or 4 decades back. Mostly these were the types of loads, linear loads. The relationship between voltage and current was linear, and there was no power quality issue. The current drawn by these loads was sinusoidal, given the voltage sinusoidal. Present scenario is this. Now, instead of linear loads, now most of the loads in our homes, in our offices, in our commercial establishments, uh, in industries, most of the loads are nonlinear loads because of use of power electronic converters. And nonlinear loads do not draw sinusoidal current, they draw distorted current, as it is clear from the diagram itself. The applied voltage may be sinusoidal, but the current drawn, you can see it's not sinusoidal, it's non-sinusoidal, it's distorted. So therefore, the relationship between voltage and current is nonlinear. So you can see the relationship between voltage and current in nonlinear loads is nonlinear. That's why these types of loads are called nonlinear loads. Okay, so present scenario of power system loads, I have written here, power electronics converters have proliferated in all spheres, residential, commercial, and industrial applications. Power electronics converters act as nonlinear load on the systems. Highly nonlinear voltage current relationships, which I have mentioned, which I have shown with the help of this diagram. So what happens? The problem is that this is your nonlinear load, and you may have other type of loads which may be linear loads. This is your point of common coupling. Say this is the schematic diagram of a power distribution system. This is the source. This is the sinusoidal voltages available here. So the source voltage is sinusoidal. This is the feeder reactance, feeder impedance. And this is the point of common coupling. Point of common coupling is that point in the distribution system where different types of loads are connected. And you can see I have shown many other type of loads which may be linear, and I have shown one non-linear load also comprising of AC to DC, traditional AC to DC converter. Now, what type of current this non-linear load will draw? It will not draw sinusoidal current. I have written here, it will draw non-sinusoidal or distorted load current, and that will cause distorted voltage at the point of common coupling. So because the voltage at this point of common coupling will be this source voltage minus this drop. Since this drop is non-sinusoidal in nature because of distorted current, so therefore voltage available at the point of common coupling is distorted. It may be highly distorted as shown in this diagram, in this waveform. And when this distorted voltage is applied to other voltage sensitive loads, they start malfunctioning, they start maloperating, like your induction motor. If it is supplied with non-sinusoidal voltage, it starts giving problems. Its core losses increase, its efficiency decreases, it starts giving vibrations, it gives noisier operation and all that. Okay, so this is the problem. So distorted currents drawn by nonlinear loads cause distorted voltage drops across the feeder impedance, which results in distortion in the voltage at the point of common coupling. That is the problem. That's the concern for power system and power electronics engineers. So your supply voltage is sinusoidal, but voltage which is available across various types of loads at point of common coupling, it becomes distorted voltage because of distorted current drawn by these nonlinear loads. Okay. Now the question is, I have shown here nonlinear load. It comprises of traditional AC to DC converters. Now you may ask a question, why not to do away with these AC to DC converters? Why not to, just delete them? Let us not use them. They are nonlinear loads. They create a lot of problems. They produce distorted voltages at the point of common coupling. Why not to do away with them? The answer to this question is no, we cannot. These traditional AC to DC converters and rectifiers, they have become integral parts of our systems. In fact, I would like to say they have become integral parts of our lives. We find these AC to DC converters in our bedrooms, in our kitchens, in our drawing rooms, in our houses, in our offices, in commercial establishments, in industries, everywhere. So therefore, these nonlinear loads basically use AC to DC power converters. And I have given a list of these AC to DC power converters. These AC to DC power converters are used in DC motor drives. They are used as front-end converters for adjustable speed AC motor drives, HVDC power transmission, power supplies, switch mode power supply, UPS, utility interface with non-conventional energy sources like solar PVs, wind, process technology, power supplies for telecommunication systems, aerospace, military environment, and so on. The computer which I am using for delivering this lecture, my computer also uses a switch mode power supply, SMPS, and that SMPS also uses at its front end AC to DC converter, a rectifier. So can I do away with this rectifier? Answer is no, because if I don't use this rectifier, I will not be able to produce a switch mode power supply. And if there is no switch mode power supply, I cannot use my computer, I cannot use my laptop. So therefore, these AC to DC power converters have become very important. They are, integral parts of our systems. Okay, so billions and billions of such AC to DC power converters are being manufactured every year and used by us as end users. In our homes, induction, in our kitchens, if we use induction cooking systems, induction heating systems, they also use AC to DC power converters. Our television power supplies, set-top box power supplies, mobile chargers, they use AC to DC power, they use AC to DC converters. Inverter air conditioners, they also use AC to DC power converters. So it is simply not possible to remove these AC to DC power converters. But the problem with these AC to DC power converters is that they act as nonlinear loads, they draw highly distorted currents, and they result in distortion in the voltage at the point of common coupling. So these are some commonly used rectifier circuits. As all of you may be aware, this is a simple bridge rectifier, and you can see if this is the voltage, source voltage, and this is the current. You can see how much distortion is there. Current is highly distorted. Okay, this is a three-phase rectifier circuit, bridge rectifier. Again, this is the current drawn by this rectifier. It's highly distorted. This is three-phase phase-controlled converter. Here also you can see if you take one phase current or line current, you can see it is highly distorted. It's not sinusoidal. Voltage is sinusoidal, but current is distorted. It is non-sinusoidal. And in our personal computers, like you may have these 1, 2, 3. I have shown these are personal computers. These may be the personal computers in your department, in your computer lab. So many personal computers. All of them use AC to DC converters. These are some of the experimental, results which were taken by my senior professor Shailendra Kumar Jain when he was doing his research at IIT Roorkee. I am reproducing his results. What he did in the electrical engineering department of IIT Roorkee, he used power quality analyzer, and he got the harmonic spectrum of voltage and current. This is the voltage which was available in the department to various computers, and this is the nature of current which computers were drawing. You can see the current is highly distorted, and you can see current has a very high THD. It's written here, THD, total harmonic distortion of this type of current drawn was 103%. This is the in those days fluorescent lamps were used. It was not the age of LED lamps. Those days in IIT Roorkee electrical engineering department, we were using fluorescent lamps. This is the nature of current drawn by fluorescent lamps. It's also distorted. You can see it's not purely sinusoidal. Okay, so therefore these non-linear loads, they draw highly distorted currents. Drawbacks, therefore I have summarized the drawbacks of conventional rectifiers. They draw large reactive power. Okay, so the increased VA rating of the system, because when they draw large power, reactive power, especially at higher delay or firing angles, the kVA or VA rating of the system increases. They result in voltage drops at the buses, lower rectifier efficiency, higher input current harmonics, increased losses in the equipment, torque pulsations in the induction motors, electromagnetic interference with communication circuits, blown fuses of on power factor correction capacitors, neutral burning, mal-operation of protective devices, and mal-operation of sensitive devices, and so on. So these are the drawbacks of conventional AC to DC converters or rectifiers. What is the method of improving power quality problem? 3 methods: using passive power filters, active power filters, or improved power quality converters. I will quickly go through this. This is if you use passive power filters. This is a series filter. This is a shunt filter. You can remove the harmonics from the currents. But the drawbacks of passive filters is that suppressing many harmonics which are present in the currents, you need multiple single tune filters. Filtering characteristics are influenced by the system configuration. If system configuration changes, then filtering characteristics also change. There is the problem of resonance with the source impedance, fixed compensation, and these passive filters are large in size and they are costly. Then why not to use active power filters? I hope Professor Shailendra Jain has already delivered a lecture on active power filters. Active power filter basically comprises of a power electronic inverter, voltage source inverter, which injects the harmonic current into the system so as to cancel the harmonics which are present in the source current. Or whatever harmonics are demanded by the load, those harmonics will not come from the source. Those harmonics will be compensated by the shunt active power filter. Okay, so that the source current becomes purely sinusoidal. This is the source voltage, this is the load current, this is the filter current, the current IC, which is injected by the shunt active power filter, and therefore your source current becomes purely sinusoidal. Okay, so these are various classifications of active power filters. I will not go into the details because this is not my area, talk of the day. Drawbacks of active power filters: large rating of active power filters, larger hardware requirements, complex control, large size, and they are also costly. Okay, then what is the solution? Solution is active solution. Active solution means instead of using passive filters or active power filters, why not to design an AC to DC converter which will not create these power quality problems, which will not distort the currents, which will draw purely sinusoidal currents, and which will operate at unity power factor so that no reactive power is drawn by them. Such breed of converters is called improved power quality AC to DC converters. So these improved power quality AC to DC converters offer solution to power quality problems introduced by conventional AC to DC converters. Like, they produce better power quality at the input side. What is the better power quality at input side? Low THD, nearly unity power factor, and better power quality at the output side, which means well regulated and reduced ripple voltage waveform. So therefore, we can go for improved power quality AC to DC converters, which will not create any power quality issue. So this is the broad classification of improved power quality AC to DC converters. We broadly classify them into single phase and three phase, then unidirectional and bidirectional, then buck boost, and multi-level converters. Similarly, three phase improved power quality converters are boost converters, buck boost converters, multi-level converters, or multi-pulse converters. Okay. So this is again the broad classification: improved power quality converters, IPQCs, boost converters, unidirectional and bidirectional, buck converters, unidirectional and bidirectional, buck boost converters, and multi-level converters. This is the power circuit diagram of a single phase unidirectional boost converter. Many of you or all of you may be aware of DC to DC boost converter. In a DC to DC boost converter, the input is DC, output is also DC, and then boost converter comprises of a boost inductance and a switch connected like this. So here, this is the AC to DC boost converter. What we do, we use a conventional AC to DC rectifier, bridge rectifier, convert AC into DC, then we use DC to DC boost converter. The advantage of using DC to DC boost converter is that you can program the current which is drawn by this converter, and you can make this current purely sinusoidal in nature. So therefore, this is a category of unidirectional improved power quality converter. You can see this is the source voltage and this is the source current. And source current is very nearly sinusoidal in nature, and it is in phase with the voltage, giving unity power factor operation. So this is the power circuit diagram of a bidirectional boost converter. And this is a simulation model which was developed by me in MATLAB, Simulink, and SimPower Systems software. And these are the simulation results. This is the current drawn by conventional AC to DC converter. You can see this is the voltage and this is current, and current is highly distorted. And when I use unidirectional boost converter, you can see this is the voltage and this is current. Current is purely sinusoidal. The current drawn by conventional rectifier has a THD of 35.69%. So it is highly distorted current, which is very rich in harmonics. Whereas the current drawn by improved power quality converter has a THD very close to 0%, just 0.79%. Current is purely sinusoidal and it is in phase with the voltage. We are using hysteresis current control technique. In hysteresis current control technique, we generate a reference wave which is sinusoidal, and actual current we make to follow the reference current within the narrow hysteresis band. You can see this is the band, upper band, lower band. So current follows, actual current drawn by the converter follows the reference current within the narrow hysteresis band. Some experimental validation. This experimental circuit was developed by one of my BTech students in the year 2008. When I returned after doing my PhD, I took a project group. I asked them to develop a single phase bidirectional boost converter, improved power quality AC to DC converter. This is the experimental setup of the same. This is the front panel. You can see this is the single phase bidirectional boost converter, and along with the hysteresis current control block diagram. And this is the experimental results that we observed. This is the simulation result. This is the current drawn by conventional AC to DC converter for a particular type of load, and this is the experimental waveform. And you can see this experimental waveform resembles the simulation waveform. So the level of distortion in the current is very high. And this is the current drawn by improved power quality converter. It is purely sinusoidal. You can see this is reference current and this is actual current. You can see actual current very closely follows the reference current. Your reference current is sinusoidal, so actual current also becomes sinusoidal. And you can see this is the voltage. हमने एक phase की voltage ले ली थी. This is the voltage and this is the current. You can see voltage is sinusoidal, current is also sinusoidal, and additionally current is in phase with the voltage, giving unity power factor operation. Okay, so this is experimental result of this boost converter, which was taken by my students, BTech students. This is the simulation model of a three-phase improved power quality converter instead of using single-phase converter. Now I will show you some results for three-phase converter. और ये एक phase की waveform है. This is a phase A voltage waveform, and this is line current of phase A. You can see the current is purely sinusoidal in nature, and it is in phase with the voltage. This is for rectification mode, and this is for inversion mode of operation. Okay, so then if you go to multi-level converter topologies, multi-level converters can also be used as improved power quality converters, but for medium and high voltage and high power applications. Broadly, multi-level converters are of three types: diode clamped multi-level converters, flying capacitor multi-level converters, and cascaded multi-level converters. This is the power circuit diagram of a three-phase diode clamped three-level converter, multi-level converter. So in one leg, we are using 4 switches. The total 12 switches इसमें आ जाते हैं. So this is your diode clamped three-level multi-level converter. We can use this as improved power quality converter. This is the power circuit diagram of a flying capacitor multi-level converter, 5-level converter, and this is the power circuit diagram of a cascaded multi-level converter. Okay. Advantages with multi-level converters are higher conversion efficiency, low voltage stress, no problem faced in the series connection of devices, low dV by dt stress, low AMI emissions, better input and output power quality. That means nearly unity input power factor, negligible input current THD, and regulated and reduced ripple DC output voltage. But we use these multi-level converters. We should not use them for low power applications. We use them always for medium voltage, high voltage, and high power applications. Drawbacks are large device count, complexity in control, and DC bus capacitor voltage unbalancing. That's why I told you, since the device count is large, it's not economically justifiable to use them for low power applications. We use them for high power and high voltage applications. Okay. The pulse width modulation technique that I have used for operation of this three-level diode clamped improved power quality converter was space vector pulse width modulation. I cannot go into the details of space vector pulse width modulation. I hope some of you who have gone through, who are working in the area of power electronics, they have studied space vector PWM and they know about this modulation algorithm. Performance evaluation. So I have taken source voltage of 110 volts, frequency of 50 hertz, inductance 4.5 millihenry, so line resistance 0.4 ohm, load resistance 15 ohms, and load inductance 5 millihenry. Here we use two capacitors, as you can see, capacitor C1 and capacitor C2, and their value is 4,700 microfarad, and output voltage, desired output voltage is 400 volts, and switching frequency is 5 kilohertz. And this is the space vector PWM. This is the space vector diagram. This is the reference vector, which is rotating, you can see. And when it rotates, it generates three-phase sinusoidal voltages and currents. I'm sorry I cannot go into the details of space vector PWM because I have limited time. I have to finish my lecture. Okay, so these are some of the simulation results. मैंने phase A की voltage और current draw की. This is phase A phase A voltage, and this is phase A line current. You can see current is absolutely sinusoidal and it is in phase with the voltage. And current has a very low THD, very low distortion level, just 1.45%. And as per IEEE standard 519/1992, if current has a THD of less than 5%, it is acceptable. And my converter is drawing a current which has a THD of just 1.45%. So it is giving excellent performance in terms of power quality. It is drawing almost sinusoidal current from the source. This is in the inversion mode of operation. And this is DC bus voltage, which is 400 volts. This is the experimental validation. It belongs to my PhD work. When I was doing my PhD work in electrical engineering department, IIT Roorkee, I took this as a PhD problem. I developed a 3-level improved power quality converter, and whatever simulation results I got, I made it to work as an improved power quality converter, drawing sinusoidal currents at unity power factor, and I went for experimental validation of the same. This is the laboratory prototype. This is my laboratory prototype. This is the experimental setup that was used by me at IIT Roorkee. This is the power circuit diagram of 3-level converter. This is my experimental setup. Okay, इसका rear view है, back side view, and these are some of the experimental results. You can see here when I was using my conventional 3-phase rectifier, it was drawing highly distorted current. You can see current is highly distorted with a very high THD of around 10 to 20%. And when I used my 3-level converter as an improved power quality converter, you can see it is drawing purely sinusoidal current with a THD of just 1 to 1.5%. It's written here. Okay, so this is same. This is 3-phase line currents, line current A, line current B, line current C, purely sinusoidal in nature and 120 degrees phase displaced. This is the source voltage and line current in inversion mode of operation, and THD is again around 1 to 2%. So that's all. So therefore, it is generally recommended that in those installations, देखिए एक problem इसमें होती है when you recommend improved power quality AC to DC converter, it becomes the only problem with these converters is that although these converters address all the power quality issues, they draw sinusoidal currents, they act as a linear load, just like resistive load. They act as a linear load. They draw currents which are in phase with the voltage, giving unity power factor operation. That means these converters do not draw any reactive power, and they draw almost purely sinusoidal currents. Therefore, they do not create any power quality issues. They rather solve the power quality issues. The only problem with these improved power quality converters is that right now they are costlier. So it is recommended for engineers that in those installations, the problem is when you propose this solution to the industry may refuse. They may be reluctant to adopt this new technology because it is very costly technology. They have already conventional AC to DC converters installed in their installations, which are costing them maybe lakhs of rupees, and it will not be economically viable to discard those and invest afresh on improved power quality converters, which are again costly, which is a costly technology. So it is recommended that for those installations where already conventional AC to DC converters are installed, don't replace them by improved power quality converters. Rather, try to improve the power quality using active power filters there. Use active power filters there and improve the power quality. The current will become sinusoidal and power factor will become unity. But in new installations, jahan nayi industry ban rahi hai, new installations, it is recommended to go for improved power quality AC to DC converters. Its initial cost is high, but in the long run, it pays the industry back. It does not draw any reactive power, and it addresses all power quality related issues. So therefore, the future of improved power quality AC to DC converters is very bright. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your nice session. So all the participants, if you have any doubt, you can ask.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, I am Professor Ashok Suryavanshi from Pune. Sir, I am from electronics background,
Okay.
and I am doing my research in multi-level inverters. So
Right.
I would like to know multi-level inverters modulation techniques. So
Right.
I would like to know the basic difference between the multi-level converters and multi-level inverters. Okay, one thing is that in converters it is AC to DC and inverter DC to AC. But then the
Right.
types or the topologies which are there in the multi-level inverter, like diode clamp, that is NPC, or we can say flying capacitor, or cascaded edge bridge. So same topologies are there in the multi-level converters also.
Exactly. You must have seen in one of the in one of the slides I have shown you inversion mode of operation of the converter.
Yeah.
My multi-level converter, when it operates in rectification mode, it converts AC into DC, takes power from AC source, delivers that power to the load.
Yeah.
And when the same converter operates in the inversion mode of operation, it takes power from the DC side. DC side may be an active load, an energy source, takes power from the DC side, converts that DC power into AC, and supplies that back to the source. So my multi-level converter is a bidirectional converter. It can operate as a rectifier or it can operate as an inverter. So the answer to your question is that same topologies which are there for multi-level inverters, the same topologies are used for multi-level converters, because the multi-level converter can also be made to operate as an inverter when required.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So anyone else, if having any doubt? So
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
हेलो
Good morning.
सर हाँ सर मुझे ये पूछना था कि जैसे AC to DC कन्वर्टर्स यूज करके हम हार्मोनिक्स कंट्रोल ट्रेडिशनल मेथड को ही यूज कर रहे हैं, सो पैक डिवाइसेस यूज करके भी तो ज्यादा इम्प्रूवमेंट किया जा सकता है ना, रिएक्टिव पावर कंपेंसेशन हो गया या फिर यूनिटी पावर फैक्टर के लिए.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Fax devices which you are talking about, they are called custom power devices. Nowadays, what we do,
Okay, sir.
wherever there are these non-linear loads for harmonic compensation and for reactive power compensation, we can use custom power devices. And one of the custom power devices is called DStatCom, distribution static synchronous compensator. Okay, so you can use
Yes, sir. Yes.
You can use DStatCom. What will this DStatCom do? It will supply, it will compensate for reactive power, it will compensate for harmonics also, and it will compensate for load and balancing also. So that is another area where we can use custom power devices for addressing power quality issues. But this technique will be used in those installations where you cannot afford to replace your conventional or traditional AC to DC converters by improved power quality converters, where you have to use traditional AC to DC converters. Now, these traditional AC to DC converters create the problems. They draw large reactive power, they cause load unbalancing, and they also draw harmonic rich currents. So there you can use these custom power devices like DStatCom for addressing these power quality issues. But in those installations where you are using improved power quality converter, you do not need DStatCom, because improved power quality converter will not draw any reactive power. It will not draw any harmonics it will not inject any harmonics into the current, and it will not result in load unbalance. So for those installations where you are using traditional converters, which are drawing harmonics, which are drawing reactive power, it's better to use DStatCom.
Yes, sir. Because actually, in my project, I am using this only because it's my MTech project. Right now,
Right.
I'm doing on this. Okay, on DStatCom only with using the Lipnow stability analysis. I am trying to control with the second order this Volterra filter I am using. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's why I have a question. Thank you, sir, for
Right.
explaining me.
Thank you.
So anyone else, if no doubt, then thank you, sir, very much for
Thank
being
you.
with us here today.
Thank you.
And
It's a privilege. It's a privilege.
yes, sir, yes, sir. So thank you from the participant side also. I again thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you.
Now, okay, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So now participant, again we will have the lecture at the scheduled time, that 11:45, and in that our speaker will be from the CPRI Bangalore. So he will be giving you some of the industrial aspect of the power electronics, maybe whatever the challenges he is facing, like that. So we'll meet again at the session at 11:45 at the scheduled time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.